Here we go. So yes, this is Teams on the desktop, and we're actually going to start up here in the top right at your sign-in location information. And I'm starting today's demo, and I'll be running through it as Megan Bowen of Contoso Enterprises, our favorite fake corporation here at Microsoft. Right up here, first of all, you can see who we're signed in as and our picture. You can change this picture at any time, and it does change it across all of your signed-in Office 365 apps. So when you go to portal.office.com or sign into other things, it's the same picture. You can change it here and have it reflected there. Underneath that, you have your availability. You can see right now there's a little green check mark underneath Megan's picture showing she is available. You can automatically show people that you're busy or do not disturb, be right back, or appear away. There is a sixth one of these whenever you are in a call, and it is a red dot that says in a call. You can't manually turn that one on. It only shows up when you are, of course, in a call. So we can say that we are busy. Change that, and we can even set a status message. This will show up for folks anytime they try to message us or tag us in a post. Let's say executing a 1-hour Teams 101 training BRB. Show it when people message me. Your status message will show above the composed message when someone tries to send you a message or message you. So you have a lot of characters to fill that out in case you need to put contact information, sort of setting up an automatic reply like you would in Outlook. And you can choose when it clears. So you can have it automatically go away after an hour, which is what we'll do, or make it so you have to manually clear it by choosing never or choose a custom time to do so. So let's do that. We've got our away message up, displaying until an hour from now. Then right under that is saved. Hang on to this one. We will check it out later. I think it is one of the most important areas in Microsoft Teams. Underneath that, you have settings. Now, this is managing your settings at the local level. This is managing your desktop instance of Teams and not changing any settings organization-wide. You can change how Teams looks, dark, light, or high contrast. Does it automatically launch when you boot up your computer? Does it automatically launch in the background? When you hit the X, does it close Teams or does it just minimize it? And you'll find it down in the system tray. Do you want, if you have a graphics card running Teams, I suggest you do, just because Teams is running a lot of stuff. So if you have that kind of capability, I keep this unchecked. And do you want to use Teams as the chat app for Office? Yes or no. This is also where you can set your language information. Keep that in mind for a little demonstration later on. Your privacy. Do you allow to set do not disturb information, turn on or off read receipts, and participate in surveys? Notifications. This is very important. This will manage how Teams alerts you. There are options for all of these things to have Teams automatically send you an email when anyone mentions you in a chat or mentions a channel you're a part of or mentions a team you are a part of. I think this can get pretty disruptive, so I like to keep my notifications inside of Teams. A banner is an actual little pop-up in the bottom right-hand corner. Show only in feed is the activity area that we'll talk about in a moment. And you can manage all of these at sort of the Teams-wide level, or as you'll see in a moment, you can manage notifications individually for different teams and channels. Manage your devices. This won't be the first time you'll see me on camera. Hello. You can manage where your audio input and output goes from and what webcam you're using. Hello again. And whether or not you're giving permission for Teams to access that kind of stuff, as well as access your location, external links, that sort of thing. Finally, calling. As Erica said, you're not set up for this just yet, so I will not be demonstrating it. I also won't be demoing it because it's kind of just a pain to set up from a demo standpoint, to set up multiple calls and voicemails ahead of time. So we won't be talking about VoIP, voice over the internet through Teams today. So that is the settings. Underneath settings, you have zoom. You can zoom in and out at any time to make things smaller or larger or fit to your screen back to 100%. Underneath that, a handy menu for all of the keyboard shortcuts inside of Microsoft Teams. Everything for zooming in and out to showing this list of commands, control / the go-to menu we'll talk about in a minute. Accepting a call, Control-Shift-A. One that I use all the time is Control-Shift-M to mute or unmute myself. much quicker than if you're, busy on a call, answering some emails, even though you should be focusing, and someone calls out your name, much easier than reopening the window and finding that microphone button. Control-Shift-M, and you're back off of mute. I know we're all dealing with so many conference calls where you hear so many people say, oops, I was on mute. Well, now you can fix it. If you're a keyboard warrior, feel free to familiarize yourself with this list. Then you have your about information. Check for updates. What's great about this is this will run periodically on its own and install while you work. I've never once seen an update for Teams require that it close, which is excellent. So no interruptions when something new rolls out. And a link to download the mobile app. The mobile app is great. It actually offers one piece of functionality I wish was on the desktop, and that is the ability to sort of frame your frame your replies to messages both in chat and in channels. So if I'm in a chat with somebody and I'm replying to their message, one of my options on the mobile app is to sort of frame this so they can see the exact message I'm replying to. Great for group conversations where there's 8 people conversing at once and you want to reply directly to something a specific person said. So go get the mobile app, and then you can sign out. There is one more area up here that Megan doesn't have, and it shows up right here next to her. This is worth pointing out just for anyone who is using their email address that they use to sign into Teams with more than one organization. This is relevant for me. I'm not a Microsoft full-time employee. I'm a vendor, so I have the company that sort of signs my checks, and then all of my work is done with Microsoft. So I use the same email address for both organizations, my @Microsoft.com email, and I don't have to sign out and relaunch Teams every time I want to switch organizations. There's a little drop down here that has the name of the organization in white. You click on it and you can switch between them without having to sign out. So if you're using Teams with the same email address and supporting 2 different Teams environments, you can switch between them at ease. Let's jump over and talk about Teams itself. The one thing I dislike about Teams is that they called an area inside of Microsoft Teams, Teams. It's a little bit of, word salad to say, open up Teams, go to the Teams, and within a team, inside of Teams, I'm in the Mark 8 project team, inside of Teams. It's a team inside of Teams, inside Microsoft Teams. Ugh. You have this left rail. We call this the rail on the left-hand side. And let's start in Teams itself. Megan is a part of 4 different teams. We can see them here: Public Relations, Mark 8 Project Team, Retail, and Sales and Marketing. And you can see when I click on the team itself, nothing happens. You don't really do any work inside of a team itself. All the work happens in these areas underneath that keep collapsing or expanding, called channels. But before we get into the channels, let's actually talk about the teams themselves. First of all, in this view, if you are a member of a ton of different teams, you can organize these simply by clicking and dragging. Right now, they are in alphabetical order, but if we found that, we spend all of our time in the Mark 8 project team, there's nothing happening in this public relations one. It's brand new. Let's move it down to the bottom and collapse it because whoever invited us to this hasn't really kicked anything off just yet. We can see this is collapsible, your teams, but that's the only menu, and that's because all 4 teams that she's a part of are visible. But if I start accessing this more options menu, my first option is to hide a team. So if I have 20 teams, and there are several that I've been added to just because I'm part of a big organization, or I'm only going to check them periodically for new information or announcements or assets, I might want to hide those teams just so they're not cluttering this view. Let's say the public relations one is one of them. I'm going to hide it. And now, instead of seeing it, I now have a second drop down called hidden teams. And you can unhide them at any time. Just go and click on show. That'll get rid of that hidden menu since there are none in there. Back and forth. So just creating another menu of different teams that you're a part of. You can filter this list as well just by searching for the name of a team. Mark 8, and there it is. There's the Mark 8 project team. If you have a ton of them and want to search for things that way. What else can we do in this drop-down menu? Well, our first option is to manage a team. Now, you can get to this view whether or not you are an owner. Megan happens to be an owner of the Mark 8 project team. Let's see if she's an owner of these other ones. Yep, she's an owner in retail. And she's an owner here. So I can't really show you what a view looks like for folks who aren't owners, because she happens to be an owner for all 4 of these teams. But you can see this view if you are a member. You can see if I expanded this down here, there are 17 other people who are members of the Mark 8 project team, and they can see this. They can click here and see Manage Team. They just have far fewer options that they'll see compared to an owner. In this member view, I can search through this list, of course. I can add new people. If your organization allows it, and this is an option you set up in the admin panel, which I'm not going to show you today. It's done through, portal.office.com, the admin page, the Teams admin, whether or not your organization supports guests. You can add people to a team. I don't think there's anyone with this particular email address on Megan's team that isn't part of it, but I can add pretty much anyone with an email address, and they will become a guest if guest access has been allowed. I'll show you in a minute as we go through these team settings what guests can and can't do compared to regular members. But you'll always see that a guest has a bracket around their name that tells you they are a guest. So, if you're trying to send them stuff in your SharePoint that isn't accessible to people who don't have the same email address, who aren't part of your organization, you'll know, oh yes, I need to send it to them a different way, maybe use regular OneDrive or something, so they can access that information. His name isn't Bob K, it's Bob Kirkland, so I can edit that here, but there's no way to remove the guest. It's very important that we see that this person is a guest. I'm not going to remove it, so I can do the demo again. What else can I manage from here? Well, I can make anyone as an owner an owner as well. I can distribute that responsibility to other folks if I wanted to. I can also set up tags. Tags are actually brand new. It's a very new feature, and it essentially allows you to create sort of subgroups of people in your organization. For instance, let's say Pradeep is an accountant. He is our only one, but let's say he's training a few other people to handle some accountant duties. So I'm going to create a brand new tag. I can do so from this members page, or there's a manage tags option in the dropdown. We've already got one for our 3 graphic designers. Let's do one and create a new one for the tag name is accountants, and the people are Pradeep, as we saw, and then Miriam and Lee, just picking names off the list, are also going to be added. So this allows you to group individuals with these tags, making it easier for you to start group chats with them or tag people in posts all at once without, alerting an entire channel. If you're, I don't know if members can create tags. I actually think it might be a setting coming up, so let's find out together. But right now, certainly owners can create and manage these tags and delete them later on. You can see this little icon here. Create a new tag for this individual. Give her another one. She's a part of accountants already. And I can go through, start a chat with this group, rename it, or remove tags from individuals from there. Next to members, we have channels. There are 4 channels created for the Mark 8 project team, and every time you create a brand new team, it by default has a general channel. That's what these are called. The areas you actually do work in inside of teams are called channels. When you're creating a new one, you'll decide whether or not it gets shown for individuals across the board or just certain individuals. You create a description and decide whether it is public or private. You can see when we click add a channel, fill in the name, a description, and then privacy. Accessible to only a specific group of people within the team or everyone in the Mark 8 project team. You can also see if channels have been deleted. They'll show up down here. All right, here's where you as an owner can really get into the nitty-gritty stuff. First, you can set a team picture. Looks like Mark 8 is a project around a drone of some kind, so that's the little image there. Member permissions. Can members create and update channels? Sure. Can they create private channels? No. As an owner, I don't want them doing that. Or deleting channels? No, thank you. Can they add and remove apps and custom apps? Yes, we'll talk about apps way later on this hour. Creating, update, and remove tabs. Yes, we'll talk about tabs in a moment. Connectors are a type of app. Give them the option to delete their messages. No, thank you. I want a constant thread of conversation in the channels. Give them the option to edit it. Sure. Guest permissions. Do we want guests to be able to do things, create and update channels? No, you can see that the difference between a member and a guest, very different what they are allowed to do and not do. @ mentions. So when you are inside of a channel or in a chat, You can tag individuals. You can tag tags, like the group I just made for accountants, or you can tag entire teams and channels by typing in the @ symbol and then the name of that channel. If I want to create a post that tags everyone in the design channel, that gives them an alert that there's a new message, I can do so with @design or @just channel, the channel that I'm in. Sometimes this gets taken advantage of. I'm part of a team that's called Teams Adoption. It's all around, announcements for Microsoft Teams, helping people get on board with Teams, answering difficult questions, and people were kind of abusing the ability to announce to the entire organization that they had a question. When you've got a huge group like that, the odds are someone's going to be able to answer, how do I view a shared calendar instead of my personal calendar in Teams? But people were really tagging everybody, so this got disabled very quickly on. Up to you when you're managing a team or a channel if you want to allow people to announce to the entire group. If you are creating a new team, perhaps in person in a large conference room, you're getting everybody on board for some brainstorming and working together in the moment, you can create a team code to make it easier for people to join. We just generated one for the Mark 8 project team. We can even blow it up full screen. Come on, everybody. Join the team. Where do I enter the code? Well, that's down here in Join or Create a Team. I'll show you what that view looks like in a minute. But I'm removing the code. It's no longer going to work. Fun stuff. Do I want people in the channels for the Mark 8 project team to be able to comment with GIFs or stickers or custom memes? I think yes. We want people to be able to communicate the way they're used to. It improves communication and improves employee morale to let people to respond with more than just, a thumbs up or a winky emoji, to do a little bit more exciting stuff. And finally, there are those tags. Who can add tags? Do we want members to be able to create new tags for folks or just owners? Next to settings, you have analytics, good for looking at team usage over time, the number of users, the number of messages sent recently in the last week, number of apps installed, how much storage space is taken up in SharePoint for just the files for this team. And you can also see the apps that have been added. So we've added, there's a few that are built in automatically, like Praise is just a Teams thing, SharePoint obviously connected to Teams at all times, and then some third-party ones like Trello. Maybe we're not using Planner for building task boards. We were using Trello before we got onboarded to Teams. You don't have to abandon the things you're already using. If you're using Evernote instead of OneNote, Microsoft Teams can support that app, and you can add them here or by clicking on this lower button in the left-hand rail. There's a ton of apps. We could spend all day just going through different bots, which are apps that allow you to talk to them in the chat box, tag at GitHub. I don't even know what GitHub is. It's a developer tool. I don't know what you would talk to GitHub, but you can tag it. Hey, if you're using Zoom still, and you've got Zoom meetings still on your calendar, run them through Teams. You absolutely can do that. All right, so that's everything under Manage Team. There's a ton more in this dropdown. You can add a channel or add a member without going into that view. You can leave the team, even if you're a member. You decide, I was added to this erroneously, or this is updating me too much. You can leave. If you're an owner, you can edit the team, like the name and description. Get a link to it. You can get a link to just about any location inside of Teams. If I need to send somebody to the general channel, hey, you two, the information you need can be found right here. And I click on it, and it takes me to the general channel in the Mark 8 project team. Manage your tags, like we talked about, and then delete the team as an owner. I can completely remove it. Join or create a team looks like this. You can create a brand new team from scratch. And you'll be given some options to create from an existing group or build it from scratch, or join with that code that we saw earlier. From down here, if you click on the gear, you can see all 4 of your teams and start diving into your settings from there. So click on that one, and we've jumped into the hidden team. Just easier navigation to see all the teams in a sort of more collapsed list without seeing all the channels. Let's actually get into some channels. Let's go into the Digital Assets web channel. This is primarily where you spend the bulk of your time. You have a number of tabs up here in a channel. When a new channel is created, there are 3 by default: posts, files, and wiki. Every single one has them, even in this blank one here. You can add more tabs. Tabs can be individual files or folders or a document library. It can be an app like Planner or Power BI. I use Planner all the time in different channels to track different tasks. And it can be any of these third-party, the list goes on and on and on, adding in all these different third-party experiences that you might need in that channel. I don't know what Agile Poly does. Automate your daily stand-ups and team check-ins. Okay. Sounds Flow-esque. Cool. Stream for internal video hosting. A link to a website. A question that was asked on a recent Teams training was, how do I see a shared calendar? I'm jumping ahead a bit, but if you go to your calendar view on the left-hand side, this is your calendar. This is your, everything you would have in Outlook, visible in Teams, but seeing like a shared calendar for an entire group of folks, you could do that by adding in the calendar's website and view it from there. Here's the name for the tab and the URL, and create a post while you add it. But let's actually go into posts. Let's talk about the main form of communication here. We can see a number of individual posts made. Megan shared a GIF, looks like. We've got a mock-up review, a bunch of different stuff here, some posts about different meetings. And the biggest thing for people new to Teams, the biggest hurdle that I've seen people trip over is when they want to reply to something in this view, when they want to reply to a post. If I want to reply to Joanna here, my instinct for a lot of folks is to go down here. Do not go down here. This is for starting a brand new conversation. If you want to reply, go to the end of that thread, separated by the different boxes, and click reply. You'll get the exact same tools, but now you have a box you can type in. You can see there are already 4 replies here. We can expand them or collapse them if I don't need to read all of this. Let's actually reply here. Just great work all. Very simple. If I hit enter or click this little paper airplane, it will send this post, but I have a ton of options when either replying or starting a new conversation inside of the posts view in a channel. First, I have rich text formatting options. So if I need this to be quite more complex, I can, bold it. I can create a heading by going into paragraph and doing heading 1. Great work all. And then change this up to be the simple paragraph. Unbold. Thanks for all the hard work this week. It's really gonna pay off. I can italicize, I can strike through, I can highlight, I can underline, I can increase the text size or change the font color, I can add indents and bullet points and quotes and pieces of code and line breaks and insert a table. It's a lot of stuff you can do. I can get people's attention in a few ways. I can tag individuals or the entire channel. If I want the entire channel notified, we still have that turned on. I'm not going to do that. I can also do that, get folks' attention by marking something as important. It will get this little flag, and let's see. Nothing in here has been flagged as important, but it would look very similar to this. This lets you know on the right-hand side that you individually have been mentioned. So since I'm signed in as Megan, Isaiah mentioned Megan, I see the little @ symbol here. The exclamation point appears in the same way. It'll appear in the top right of the post, letting people know this is the important message as they scroll through, perhaps coming back from a long weekend or a vacation week, all the important messages. So I'm going to leave that turned on. My other options, I can, of course, attach files. This is my recent file view. If I click it again, I can browse through the different teams and channels for a file that might be uploaded already, browse through my OneDrive for Business, Megan's OneDrive, or upload locally from my computer. You know how attachments work. Then I get the fun stuff. There's an emoji picker built into Teams. Of course, there's also the emoji picker built into Windows. They are a little bit different. Here's where you can add those GIFs. Great work. We nailed it. I don't know what these cartoon characters are, but they're annoying me, and I'm going to get rid of them. And then stickers. These are the stickers and memes, even the ones you can customize yourself. Thanks, everyone. You can drop that in. There it is. I customized it myself, and it's gone. I can meet either audio or video at any time from pretty much anywhere inside of Teams. If I want to invite all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that have commented or started this post by Joanna to a meeting, I just click Meet Now. and my calendar turns on, and my microphone turns on. I can also give this meeting a subject or schedule a new meeting right there. I can access all of those apps. Remember those apps we saw when we were looking at the Mark 8 project team and everything that was connected. Some of them show up as shortcuts down here, like Microsoft Stream. If there's an internally hosted video for our organization that I want to share in this post, I can do so by getting the link from Stream. I can add from our Trello board. It's going to tell me I'm not signed into Trello. Yep. I can add a Wikipedia article about whatever we're talking about. Design review for drones. I'm going to search for different drone information. Unmanned aerial vehicles. Lots of different connectors that you can add in. By the way, an app is considered a connector anytime it reaches into an outside service. So any news article website, a Twitter feed would be considered a connector. Just like Bing News, it's probably all going to be bad news. Yeah, in the world today. And there's a bunch more hidden under here. I can create a new poll or form. I can get some weather information, grab a YouTube video, and I can deliver praise. This is that one I mentioned earlier that's unique to Microsoft Teams, allowing you to call out individuals for great work. It's up to you if you want to incentivize this in some way internally in your organization, but it's not really connected to anything else other than Teams itself. So, Joanna, for her great work on this, is a real achiever. Go get them. And I'll preview. It's going to give a little sticker, and it's part of this post now. Actually, it made its own post. It's its own thing. And then I'll send this along. Great work, all. Very important that you know that I'm very proud of you. Important. So that is how you make a post, or you can create a brand new one, start a new conversation. And since this is the most recent thing to happen in the digital assets web, you can see that Joanna's post was like up here between these two. It is now moved down as the most recent bit of conversation that has some activity. You can see whenever I hover over a post, including my own, I get the ability to give some reactions. So there's 3 thumbs up. I can give a heart, laughter, surprise, sadness, or anger. The really interesting stuff happens under more options, however. Here we have the ability to save a message. Remember, 30 minutes ago, I mentioned the saved area. This is tying back into that. Anytime somebody drops something that you think is going to be important to you later on, an important link, a bit of information, I have to do recaps for all my different training events, and I had very early on someone send me a list of how to categorize them. I put that in OneNote, but I also saved it inside of Teams so I could access it later just by clicking Save This Message. Now, when I go up to Megan's picture, underneath her status is saved. This opens a new view. It's not one of the things on the rail. I kind of wish it was. And I can see that she has saved 6 different items, whether they are in individual chats between just me and Alex, or posts inside of different channels. So you can quickly jump to these. It'll take you to the actual location. Here's a post by Isaiah. Here's the actual post. Here's a reply. And you can unsave them at any time when they're no longer useful by just clicking the bookmark, and it will vanish from this list. These are in chronological order, by the way, based on the date that you added them in. So that is the saved area. Like I said, I wish it was more easy to get to part of it and not hidden away in this menu, but it is what it is. And if you think it should change, click on Help and suggest a feature or give feedback to Teams, which you can do at any time. Some other interesting stuff to do in this dropdown. You can mark something as unread, and you'll see that changes it to bold. You'll see any channel has bold when there's information you haven't read. But if there's stuff where you've actually been tagged or something has been marked as important, it will not only bold, you'll also get a red dot here with a number. Sort of like how we get notifications on iPhone. You know, the little red circle indicating you have 6 unread emails. Very similar inside of Teams. A little red circle right next to the 3 dots that shows you, how many different important or tagged messages you have in that channel. Next to mark as unread, you can copy the link. Again, just like copying a link to a team or a channel, you can copy links to individual posts. Share to Outlook. We'll take this entire post and format it into a way you can send it in an email. So there it is. And it gets the entire conversation and all the GIFs that are running. Very simple Outlook view here. Translate. Let's actually go, I saved it. there's a post in here so we can show off translate. So if you have members of your organization who have a different language set up, remember way back in settings, you can set what language you are using for your keyboard and your app. They don't need to switch to another language to communicate because Translator is built in. It will translate to the language you've selected in settings, and you'll get a little icon right here next to the time and date showing that it has been translated from Japanese, and you can turn it back at any time. That is Translator built in across Teams. You also have Immersive Reader built in across Teams. If a post is massive and you need it blown up so it's easier for you visually, or you need it read aloud to you while you do something else, just click on Immersive Reader. You have the same tools that you'll find inside of Word and inside of OneNote built in here as well. So these are broken up. As you can see, we've broken up the words by syllable. We're flagging different parts of speech. I think we've even got the picture dictionary turned on. So like location, review. You can hear the pronunciation for all of these words. That is the Immersive Reader. You're probably familiar with it. It's everywhere. Turn off notifications if this is a thread that you've been tagged in, but now it's no longer relevant to you. You've gotten all you're going to get, and it's just people now posting, GIFs, responding how happy they are for things. By the way, the best thing Teams has ever done is the ability to pause GIFs so they're not looping constantly, driving you insane. You can pause them at any time just by clicking on them. So thankful for that. But you can turn off notifications so you're no longer, getting the bold here or getting activity messages. And we'll talk about activity next. Finally, you can create a poll. You can drop a new poll into any thread. Let's create a brand new form based on this information. So that is posts inside of a channel. Your main method for communication, keeping your conversations threaded so they're all based on relevant topics. If you're a member of a lot of stuff, you'll probably start to spend more time in activity instead of different teams and channels. Anytime you get tagged in a notification, anytime somebody makes something important, that you're in a team or channel that you're a part of. Anytime somebody replies to one of your messages, you'll start to see that fill up this activity. And it is in chronological order as well. You can switch this from your activity feed to My Activity and see the last things you did. So in case, where did I post that important document or that important message? Thanks, Miriam. It's a post right here in General. What General? The Monthly Reports channel. So that is your feed and My Activity. This one is the filter functionality is a little bit better than what we saw for Teams. You can, of course, search for a specific person or post or keyword, but you have these options to filter these out. So let's say you do get back from a long week of vacation. You don't need to be clogged up with people's reactions to your messages, people giving you thumbs ups and smiley faces. I just want to see people mentioning me by name. And you can filter it out and just see the posts where anyone's specifically called out your attention or where people have directly replied to messages that you posted. So yeah, a great way to filter out what can quickly become a rather onerous list of things happening in your feed. Underneath activity is chat. For those of you who are familiar with Skype for Business, this is probably going to be the greatest one-to-one analog. This is what Skype for Business essentially was great at, other than audio and video meetings, was these one-on-one or group chats. We have that here too. This is persistent. You can go in and delete your messages individually, but you cannot delete the entire chat history unless you leave the chat. And I have to do that in a group chat. Here's one. I can leave if it's a group chat. If it's just between me and one other person, I can delete all my messages, but that chat exists on their end. There's nothing really to leave other than to simply hide it. And now it's gone, but I'd have to start a new message with, I think it was Nestor, to bring it back, and it will save our chat history. There it is. Good to see you again. Very simple. We still have the same options that we saw when we were creating a post or a reply in the channel view down here. You can filter this by recent. I usually stay in recent, but if there's somebody you always communicate with day in and day out, I can right click or click on these dots and pin that person. So now I have a pinned and recent area. I don't have anyone in contacts, but you can create a new contact group right down here by giving it a name and then picking the people. And you can filter this out as well by searching for names, searching for unread messages, searching for comments that are just for meetings. We have 2 here that are comment threads from actual meetings, not from one-on-one or group chats. Let's say, where's one where we've got some conversation back and forth? Here's one from Isaiah. Thanks, Isaiah. And I want to invite someone new. In the top right here, I have a number of options. First of all, I can turn this chat into an audio or video call at any time. I can also share my screen without having to jump into a video or audio call. So we can stick to typing, but I can still share what I'm looking at with Isaiah. I can rename the chat. I can even add files that are shared between us and add even more tabs, just like in a channel, stuff that's just between Isaiah and myself. And right here, I can add more people. So let's add another person. Let's add Adele. I'm trying to remember all the fake names in this organization. And Joanna again. And I get some options underneath. Since there is chat history between Isaiah and myself, do I want these new people to see that chat history, include it from just a past few days, or not see it at all? It is up to you when you're inviting new people to an existing chat, what they can see. So that is chat. Pretty basic what you can do here, but it connects to the rest of Teams. You should probably understand this area the easiest of all. Let's dive into the calendar. Like I said before, the calendar connects to Outlook. Teams speaks to Outlook. Outlook speaks to Teams. So if you have items in here that aren't even Teams things, or focus time or an offsite, they will still populate here so you can see what you have on your full calendar, not just Teams meetings. Let's create a brand new one and see the different options we get. So let's give it a name. Emergency meeting. I can't even spell. It's so much of an emergency. Let's invite some people. The name I keep inviting, Isaiah and Alex and Pradeep. And I'm also going to invite my graphic designers. Can I tag them that way? Oh no, tags doesn't work here. We're learning together. Tags works in some places, not in others. By the way, if you wanted to create a tag, let's discard. I'll come back to it. If you want to create a brand new chat, it's this button up here. Sorry, I forgot about this button. And you can type in like the name of that tag you created earlier. To the accountants. There's those 3 people automatically. Hey, number crunchers. We've created a brand new chat with my accountant team. Right next to that, I keep glossing over this box. There's so much in Teams to go over in an hour. This is the search box. You can search for specific posts or people. Let's search for Miriam. There she is, and I can dive into a chat with her. Individual posts. I know there's a file in here called usability. So here's some comments on it. Nobody named usability, but then there's the file, usability testing. And if you type a /, you'll get some shortcuts for how you can use this search bar to jump around. So you can quickly turn on Do Not Disturb, or set your status to be right back, or go see your saved list, or jump into, go to design, the design channel. And there we are. All right, back to the calendar. Let's make that meeting. Emergency. We'll add in Alex, and I'll just invite one more. Miriam. It's for coming up 10 minutes from now. Does not repeat. Let's add an entire channel. These are my mandatory people, but if anyone wants to join from the Sales and Marketing Monthly Reports channel, they can. If your organization has it set up so Teams knows your location and is set up with your conference rooms, you can choose a physical location. Perhaps the 3 of us are going to meet in person in the Crystal conference room. Everyone else can join remotely. Probably not in today's current state of affairs, but when things get back to some semblance of normal. You'll see, just like Outlook, you have a scheduling assistant. So as long as people are in your organization, you can see their calendar appointments. Since these people are fake computer people, they really don't have any appointments. But right now is a good time to start this meeting. Let's send it. It's going to get added to my calendar. And if I go back to that channel, monthly reports, you'll see, since I invited the whole channel, it's a brand new post inside of there. So here it is. Let's join it and talk about what happens when you start and join a meeting. You have a few options right down here. You can set your device settings, where your audio and video is coming from. And if you're going to do video on, you can turn on this cool feature called Blur My Background. If you are in a place with a lot of distracting stuff behind you that, is not for fun backdrop, you need to focus on work, you can just blur it. So the only thing that's seen is you. We'll join the meeting and see some of these other options. By the way, the blur background feature is getting even better. It's in preview for select organizations right now, but it's going to roll out soon. The ability to, instead of blurring your background, replacing your background with a static image. So a fancy corporate high-rise conference room or beachside in a fancy tropical resort getaway. Whatever you want as your background. I've seen some people put like the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones behind them. So fancy. You've got your camera, your mute, sharing your screen, and then a number of options. Meeting notes allows you to sort of create a light version of OneNote that will persist with your meeting. Anytime you go and revisit this meeting, those notes will show up, and you can create brand new sections with different headers as you go, piece by piece. You can go full screen, get rid of your taskbar along the bottom and the left rail if you need to see more of what's being shared. You can see the meeting details in case you need to share out the dial-in phone number or send a link, copy the join info to send somewhere else while you're in the meeting. You can also turn on live captions. These are also in preview, but great for anyone who has some auditory difficulties and needs to see what's being said. Did I turn them on? They should be showing up in the bottom left-hand corner, but they're not. What if I unblur? Does that change anything? Yes? No? Oh, it wouldn't be a live demo if at least one thing didn't go wrong. Captions stopped unexpectedly. Please try again. Let's give it one more try because I think they are really cool to have them show up. There they go. I'm talking at my normal, rather rapid pace, but they're keeping up pretty darn well, allowing you to read along rather than listen in case you have any, accessibility issues with hearing. You can have live captions going during your entire meeting. I don't think, unfortunately, that they get saved if you are recording a meeting. But if you're using Microsoft Stream, that service does create an automatic transcript as a video gets uploaded. So you can use those transcripts for people who are reviewing a call after the fact. Great. Turn off live captions. Hang up. You can see now that we're done. I created those notes. And people who view this after the fact in this channel can see the notes here. If I go back to the meeting, there was one other option I didn't turn on, and that is the whiteboard. This is an app you can get through the Microsoft Store, and now it's built into Teams as well. Perfect for devices that support touch, of course, because it's very handwriting focused to this blank canvas for you to create an ever-expanding universe of notes. You can invite more people. Anyone invited to the call can collaborate in this space while you're holding the call. All right, we have a little bit of time left, and I want to talk about these other tabs, specifically files. Think of, oh my gosh, there's a lot for monthly reports. That makes sense. Think about the Files tab the way you would think about a nested folder structure, because that's what it is. A Teams location, these different Teams channels are all locations in SharePoint. If you were to go to this organization's SharePoint, you would see 4 different folders: Mark8 Project Team, Retail, Sales and Marketing, Public Relations. And in those folders, you would see a folder for each channel. So you'd see a monthly reports folder. And then in that folder, you would see all of these files. So when you upload something to Teams, to a specific channel, that's where it gets saved. From here, I can dive into any of these. Teams works with the rest of Office really well. In fact, more often than not, unless you need the real full power of Word or PowerPoint or Excel, you can probably get by and do a lot of stuff without having to leave Teams. I can make edits and make changes to this Excel spreadsheet right here without having to leave. I can even view the comments. These are the comments that would be baked into the document, or start a conversation about this right now. Check out the, I don't even remember which one I clicked on. The sales for this month. Wow. I even have all those rich text formatting options because it's creating a post in that channel, if I go back to monthly reports and posts, there it is. I started a conversation about the USA sales, and I can dive back into that document. You can move these around. You can open them like we just saw inside of Teams, or open it in the browser, or open it in the full desktop power of Excel, and then you are collaborating on a shared document. So hopefully this gets rid of documents with multiple versions and multiple authors collaborating later. Just upload it to Teams where you're all part of that channel and work on it together. If we need to see the USA sales all the time, let's go ahead and make this a tab. Not only can all those apps that we saw earlier become tabs, individual documents can as well. So everybody needs to access this for the entire month of April or whatever. People can come in and view this, and they're already editing. As soon as they go to this tab, they are making changes inside of Excel to this document. We saw one earlier. Here's a couple Word documents that are built in as tabs, and you can remove them after the fact and not keep them as tabs up here all the time. But we also have a meeting. Like we saw earlier, there's the option to do a stream. If I want to make sure everybody sees this meeting and it doesn't get lost in a thread of posts, and I don't want to keep tagging people, now it's a tab. People can go view this recorded meeting after the fact at any time. So the tabs and the connection to Office 365 and the rest of the Office applications is a huge differentiator for Teams compared to Slack or Zoom, other communication and broadcasting, conferencing software. You can also view this stuff as a folder in your SharePoint or in your File Explorer. This sync button will make it so you have a new sort of OneDrive location on your device. I don't want to get it set up on my device to have these fake documents, but it'll allow you to have that folder File Explorer. See, there it is, trying to do it. Location. So, even if you don't have Teams open, but you need to drop something in this specific location, the design channel that you're working on, you can do so right through File Explorer. And if you need to view this location on the web, you can click on Open in SharePoint at any time.